Perfect. So, hello everyone. My name is Wes Bush. I'm the author of Product-Led Growth, and I am so excited to have here Sarah, who is the Director of Marketing and Sales at ChartMogal. So, we were chatting not so long ago, and one of the things that really made me want to get Sarah on this call right now is to chat about how she approaches sales differently. Because in the world of product-led growth, the way you do sales is actually a little bit different than the traditional demo that we all hear about. And so what we're going to go through is just how Sarah's process is different than most other companies and what really separates it from everyone else. So Sarah, the first question I really have for you is, what is wrong with the traditional way of doing demos, in your opinion?
Sure. Sure. Well, first off, thanks for having me, Wes, and excited to dig into this topic. I think we rarely see the intersection of product-led and sales. So happy to be here. And demos, yeah, let's get to it. The truth is, the demo and really all customer discovery and show and tell has certainly evolved over time. And in its infancy, maybe started out as something like, let me point out my favorite features and tell you about what I deem to be most valuable. We've gone a bit beyond that, not just the ChartMogal sales team, but salespeople, I think, everywhere, where you'll see some folks adopt a little bit of research and some assumptions, and then about your business. You'll see a lot of salespeople doing demos where they'll kind of walk into the call and say, hey, I'm going to show or tell you a story that I believe might resonate with you, and I hope I hit the nail on the head. Now, this framework is fine. It draws on good discovery. It's informed by helping similar customers. And we know in sales and marketing both that storytelling can be really powerful. However, the tricky thing about this sort of methodology is that some folks have already created their own narrative, maybe through your free trial process or some exploration and research they've done on their own. So buyers want more than a story, and they don't want to necessarily be sold on a story. They want help solving the problem that they're either charged with, and they want that story to be specific to their business. And so I think that as salespeople, we have the opportunity to adopt a different approach, and that's kind of what we're trying at ChartMogal.
Awesome. And so I'm really curious in terms of the way you have been working through your demos and really trying to evolve that process over time. So as a whole, like, how has your demo process evolved over the years?
Yeah, well, I think that like a lot of sales evolution, it comes with being introspective and measuring sort of what's working, what's not working. And I recognized that we needed to make a change when I was doing some sales coaching and listening to some of our recordings where I heard like Olivia, one of our sales reps, in a sales call, she was saying, no, up to the left a little. No, that chart, not that chart, that filter. And so we've kind of changed our process to be a bit more collaborative by actually using some software and the actual trial that an active user is in to do that process together alongside with our customer instead of with a demo environment, with demo data, etc. So we have still the option to tell a story, but we're sort of telling that story with the customer and kind of sharing in that experience. So it's a combo of a couple things, but the idea is more interactive, more collaborative, and with the active trial of a prospective customer instead of with sort of an artificial setup that we've developed as a sales or marketing team in-house.
Yeah, and so I guess in that whole process where you're actually walking someone through how to use your product, like what are some of the benefits immediately that you see from that way of doing a demo?
Yeah, good question. One thing that is especially important about this process is that we create sort of assets or even like muscle memory for the customer that they can take away after the call, right? So we've all been on sales calls where, okay, that was a great 30 minutes, now what? But throughout that sort of interactive process that I'm describing, we create maybe saved filters or charts that are fungible assets that stakeholder or that user can then take with them. So instead of them trying to figure it out on their own, we kind of guide them to those things that can be reused either throughout their trial period or throughout their evaluation. So I think that muscle memory is probably the first thing. And the product stickiness is the other thing, especially with a product like ChartMogal, which is really robust and deep in functionality. Sometimes we find that the user gets into very like surface level usage. And so we try to draw on our experience and kind of get what's important from the customer so that we can say, okay, I'm going to guide you to these specific product actions. And now like I've made you a product qualified lead almost by the engagement that we've done together. And hopefully, you know, it was a positive experience for everyone.
Awesome. No, I really love that whole approach because it's one thing to see someone else use a software solution, but it's completely another to really dive in there yourself and sometimes struggle. And honestly, in those moments where you're be like, like I'm not too sure how to do that, that's actually when you start to build that muscle memory, in my opinion, and remember how to use that solution for next time, because it's not just a one and done. If they're going to become a paying customer and stay using the product, they're going to have to become adept at using your solution. And so I'm curious, just in terms of results, you don't have to give like exact numbers for your MRR or anything, but like what are some of the results you see from this new way of doing demos?
Yeah, I think the best result or sort of benefit to the group for our salespeople both and also our customers. It's just a generally more engaging and useful experience for everyone because the experience is a lot more personal and there are sort of concrete takeaways for all. You know, one example that comes to mind is we have some fairly complex charts and subscription or SaaS metrics that folks sometimes need a little help with. And cohorts is a good example. So we helped a mobile customer understand, okay, which of my plans is performing best, or for my weekly offering or my monthly offering, how likely am I to retain those subscribers, and what's the right pricing model for me? And so it was a kind of a cool experience. We had someone pop open their cohorts chart, segment by plans, and say, oh, I thought my monthly plan was where it's at, but turns out, you know, people really liked the low effort of that weekly plan and they stick around longer, and we're able to retain those subscribers. So yeah, I mean, no specific metrics to share at this point. We're still sort of in the infancy of redesigning our process a bit, but I feel cautiously optimistic.
Awesome. And I really like that whole approach of actually telling people, or sorry, showing people like, here's how to do that solution. Because even in my book, I try to point out like there's two different ways to grow the business. There's your more traditional sales-led way, which is you're telling people like, here's what our solution does. This is why it's great. Buy. Whereas the product-led way is really like, can we show you the value proposition? You can try it, see it for yourself. And if you need help, like in this perfect example of a demo, we're still going to show you how to do it. And it's not just going to be us talking, we're going to actually be helping you and serving you to really become successful. And hopefully one day you become so successful that becoming a paying customer is really a no-brainer. So I love that. And so I'm curious, like if someone was to try and model your approach of doing these demos where you're actually walking people through how to use the products, like where should they start?
Yeah, I always bring it back to game tape, which I guess makes me sound like an antiquated sales leader. I would do an audit first. I would listen to your demos and I would see where things are breaking down or falling apart, and I would measure as much as you can qualitatively. You'll be able to hear people react to the experience, whether you're doing some traditional storytelling or you're doing a bit of feature point and click. But listen and kind of look for when a customer is trying to interject and say like, no, but like my case, it's different, or like, or can you help me with this specific thing that they just haven't been able to figure out yet? Because that's the opportunity for your salespeople to really serve almost as like product experts or even customer success, and get in there. So if you think that this is the right approach, and you've identified the opportunity to at least try it, you can try on some different software for size. We've been trialing and working a little bit with Demo Desk, and I think the experience has been really fantastic. I like Zoom for lots of things, but Demo Desk is a really nice opportunity to sort of share the screen and click through things, where I can control the conversation and the flow of the demo with the technology if I like. But I can also give that control over to those stakeholders or to those trial users to help me understand what their experience is like. And that has been really fruitful. Plus, you can record those calls, share them with your marketing team, share them with your product team, and take that sort of experience and almost like hot jar type analytics directly from a sales call and distill it into other areas of your business. So I think there's just a lot that can be done by listening to customers over the course of their evaluation period and helping them through it.
Yeah, and I think this is especially relevant for companies that not just are like scale ups, but are also really just trying to understand their users a lot better. I think is really ideal at that stage as well, because you get to see like, where do people's eyes light up? Where do they get excited about this product? Where might we start that journey off sooner for them, and where do they really struggle? Because it's one thing
Sure.
where you say like on your value proposition or your website, you're like, we have a very simple intuitive app, and then you see like you're saying that, maybe your salesperson saying that in the demo, people are just rolling their eyes, and because it's hard and they don't understand where some of those things are. And so it's, you can see so much more with body language and actually walking people through this. So I am a big fan of this, and I hope a lot of other people really try this new way of doing a demo. So with that, I'd like to wrap it up. And is there any other resources or places where people can learn more about you?
You can certainly head on over to the ChartMogal blog. Occasionally, I talk a little bit about structured sales, and we're a very product-led company. So I'm into the combination of things that we've been talking about, and would encourage you to maybe send us a connect request or follow us on Twitter. But again, Wes, been great. Thanks so much.
No worries. Thanks for sharing all your insights.